The book of Proverbs, chapter 12, starting at verse 19, and it reads, "The lip of truth shall be established forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. Deceit is in the heart of them that imagine evil, but to the counselors of peace is joy. They shall know evil happen to the just, but the wicked shall be filled with mischief. Lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but they that deal truly are his delight. Giving all praises, glory, infinite honor to our power, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA, QADASH. That is all praises, blessings, honors be to the Most High. His true name is YAHAWAH. And our Lord and Savior, his name is YAHAWASHI, that's whom the world ignorantly called Jesus. Shalom to the Lord's elect, and much respect to the brothers that teach, preach, and prophesy in the true doctrine of YAHAWASHI. And double honors to the elders, the bishops, and the apostles of the great millstone. That is where I learned this truth. I want to thank the Most High, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, for giving me the inspiration, the Holy Spirit, the RAWCHAA QADASH in the Paleo Hebrew tongue to do this lesson. Yahweh willing, this lesson will be edifying and to the point. And this is an article I was going into earlier from the Sputnik International. And the title says, U.S. veteran blows whistle on Pentagon lies and war crimes in bombshell interview. And I'm just going to play a portion of it. If you want to see the rest of it, it's like I said, it's on this website called the Sputnik International. It is a very interesting, interview because it is showing the Lord Yahweh Shai is revealing who the wicked is, and he's bringing down all of these lying people that establish their system built on lies and deception. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 25 and verse 7. It says, "And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the cavern cast." Mountain represents what? Large governments, right? "And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the cavern cast." It's like a veil, it's blinding the people with all the lies that these people have pushed over the years and had everybody believing in what they say because they are the authority. They want to make themselves as the author of the truth, meaning the only ones that speak the truth. But it was all a lie, you see. It says, "And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the cavern cast over all the people." And this links up with the Isaiah, the 60th chapter. The world's in gross darkness. And see, if you put a veil over someone's eyes, they can't see. "And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the cavern cast over all the people, and the veil that is spread over all the nations." So this is how they rule. They rule. They one of their weapons, which is on the left hand side, is the deception. The falsehood. As it says in the book of let me go there really quickly. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 94, and verse 16, verse 20. It says, "Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which framest mischief by law? They gather themselves together against the soul of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood." Because what they do is, because it says in the book of Micah, the 2nd chapter, they have the power in their hands. So this is why they go around and push their ways on countries. And if the countries don't accept it, they either remove the government by way of deception and put their puppet government in place, or they put the ideology of their democracy on these countries, which really is to destroy these nations and control them. So once again, U.S. veteran blow whistle on Pentagon lies and war crimes in bombshell interview. And I'm just going to play a portion of it, like I said. So let's get on here. It says, "In a bombshell interview with Sputnik, a U.S. Air Force veteran who served in Yugoslavia and Iraq exposes rampant corruption in the military, unpunished Blackwater war crimes, And I'm going to highlight this for a second. Blackwater war crimes and how Washington deceives its own troops. So let's go to Blackwater. A little video give you an idea.
It fought for money. After 9/11, Prince's company auto. This billionaire warlord trained as a Navy SEAL, ran a private army, and is now quietly taking over Congo's mineral supply. So, who is Erik Prince? Erik Prince was born into power and money. His father was a billionaire auto parts magnate. Prince became a Navy SEAL, but he didn't stay in the military. Instead, in 1997, he founded Blackwater, a private military company he claimed would train law enforcement and provide high-risk security abroad. But Blackwater wouldn't just train, it fought for money. After 9/11, Prince's company exploded in size and influence. Blackwater secured over $1 billion in U.S. government contracts, operating in Iraq, Afghanistan, and other war zones. But in September 2007, Blackwater crossed a line the world wouldn't ignore. At Nisour Square in Baghdad, Blackwater guards opened fire on a crowd of civilians. 17 Iraqis were killed, women, children, and a 9-year-old boy, all unalived in broad daylight. Eyewitnesses described the scene as pure horror. Cars incinerated, bodies in the streets. It wasn't a battlefield. It was a traffic circle. The FBI later said that this wasn't a war. It was a criminal act, linking it to a drive-by shooting. This massacre sparked global outrage, lawsuits, protests, congressional hearings. And what did Erik Prince do? He denied responsibility. He built Blackwater, hired the shooters, he profited, and then he just vanished. After Blackwater's collapse, Prince didn't just stop. He just changed his target, specifically to the Democratic Republic of Congo. Why Congo? Because it holds the world's most valuable minerals: cobalt, copper, lithium, and so many more. These minerals power your phones, your laptops, your electric cars. And Erik Prince? He wants to control the mine, the supply chains, the profits, using the same tactics as he did in Iraq. He trained armies in the UAE, violated an arms embargo in Libya, and tried to sell private spy services to the Trump administration. This isn't a conspiracy, it's a business model. He rebrands, breaks international law, and no one stops him. Erik Prince is still moving, quietly, globally, and dangerously, from Baghdad to Congo, from bullets to cobalt. We can't keep letting him disappear into the shadows. Not this time. This video is getting a little long already, so if you like this type of content, make sure that you are engaging with it from the bottom up. Make sure that you share this, follow me for more, and pay attention to what's happening in the Congo right now. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, free Congo, free Sudan, and free Palestine. This billionaire...
This is the book of Psalms 94, same chapter, and verse 16. Who will rise up for me against the evildoers? The Lord is asking a question here. You know, this is King David, but it says, who will rise up for me against the evildoers? Or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity? See? Verse 17, unless the Lord YAHAWASHI had been my help, my soul had almost dwelt in silence. Because these people have all the power, but this is the Bible. It refers to them as the evil man. You know, this is the book of Luke, chapter 12 and verse 2. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. So all these things are coming out. You know, and this is why it tells you in the book of Daniel, the 12th chapter, you know, at the time to the end, knowledge shall increase. You know, let's continue on here with this article now that we know what devil we're dealing with. I'll play a portion of this, like I said. Stand by.
Hello, everyone. This is Sputnik International, and today we're speaking to a unique guest. We're talking to a veteran of the U.S. Air Force who served in Yugoslavia and Iraq. And as you probably noticed by now, we're keeping his identity closed. This is not an accident, because what he will tell you today will probably shock you. So thank you for joining us, and let me start off with your background. At first glance, your service in the U.S. Air Force appeared primarily focused on logistics and support. However, you also managed to, as I mentioned, to serve in the Balkans and Iraq. During this time, what issues within the U.S. military were most concerning to you?
Thanks for having me today. I appreciate it. Were most concerning to me during my service, in particular, with regard to the deployments that you mentioned. I saw the contract and money end of things. What was most concerning was really a kind of a lack of accountability for supplies, equipment, when they're purchased, kind of the amount of, really a lot of the amount of waste that would go on with that. That was kind of my end of the business. But I will say overall, big picture wise, I think it was also when it comes to, in particular, the U.S. military, when they go, when they're sent, obviously, by the government to go into somewhere, there's really a lack of understanding, I think, a lot of times of the culture and of the history of a particular area, lending itself to kind of more like quick fix solutions, without a thorough, comprehensive approach.
So there's a lot to dig into, but I want to ask you about the money aspect. You said that there were especially troubling problems on that end. Could you please elaborate?
Yeah, I think when you're overseas and there's a lot of rotations of material, people kind of coming in and out of the theater, you have a lot of kind of buying of the same things, and that's at kind of a tactical or base level. But bigger picture wise, with the larger contractors, what I saw now mind you, during my time, this is a little while back, but there was a really heavy use of defense contractors, defense contractual personnel, in lieu of what the U.S. military personnel used to do. So you had a lot of that, and I think you didn't really have some of the same accountability with people that you would with military personnel when they're contractors, when they're working for a company, in lieu of actually being uniformed military enlisted and officers.
Could you give any sort of specific examples?
Yeah, I think, and I'll think too, during Iraq, I don't know, you may recall in the news when you saw some incidents with personnel either getting, downright shooting some people, which were civilians. And along those lines, you peeled it back, and they weren't U.S. military personnel. A lot of times they were contractors. But on the field, you can't really tell the difference, by the way they present themselves.
I'm going to pause it right there. It's such a beautiful interview. I haven't even watched the whole thing, but I'm going to leave it right there because if the Spirit allows, I may play a bit more portion of it. But this is powerful because this is the book of Psalms, chapter 64, and starting at verse 5. You see what he said, that you couldn't tell the difference between the soldiers and the private contractors. So they have these mercenaries within the military branch and operating alongside, but they do all these wicked schemes, so to speak. And you can tell they basically have what's called impunity because they don't believe in, they don't hold themselves guilty. This is let's continue. This is the book of Psalm 64, starting at verse 5. It says, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. You hear what this man said. You've seen the previous video. That is an evil matter. These people, they hold themselves not guilty because they like to demonize other countries, call them savages, call them the T word, say all these things to justify the barbaric style. It says they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privately. What snares? A trap. They say, who shall see them? This is why, because they don't feel, they put themselves in impunity. Let me see 1 second. What is the meaning of the word impunity? Impunity, exemption from punishment or freedom from the injurious consequences of an action. So this is what they do, Who shall bring them down? That's basically what they're saying. It says, verse 5, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privately. They say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep. See, because they encourage themselves in these things because they don't think that nobody sees them, nobody can touch them. It says, but Yahawah shall shoot at them with an arrow, talking about these missiles, suddenly they shall be wounded. And this is the point. So they shall make their own town to fall upon themselves. Because this man here, what does it say? Ex-U.S. veteran blows whistle on Pentagon lies and war crimes in a bombshell interview. So they shall make their own town fall upon themselves, right? Let's continue on here. Psalms, the 73rd chapter, right? This is, let's start at verse. Because this man is wealthy. He's from money. Wealthy man. This is Psalms, the 73rd chapter. Let's start at verse 3. It says, for I was envious. This is a psalm of Asaph. Truly, Yahawah is good to Israel, even to such are of a clean heart. And Israel is a people before it is a place. Don't get it confused. But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped. For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. Then this woman said, this man is a well-to-do, wealthy man.
The Navy has been ineffective in Yemen.
In case...
Look, millions of people have left Venezuela. I understand why they want to, because they don't want to live under a socialist dictatorship hell. And
ask yourself, who destroyed Venezuela? In the time of Hugo Chavez,
And yes, it's easy for them to mix in lots of truly bad terrorist actors in that deluge of people running from bad governance. Look, all this talk of illegal migration in Europe, in the United States, it ultimately comes down to a contest of what is governance. Who is governed? Which countries are governed well? And if so many of these countries around the world are incapable of governing themselves, then it's time for us to just
Listen to this, man. This is the deception and the pride of these people. It's like if these people are incapable of governing themselves, man. This is all a ploy just to be able to steal resources, This is Psalm 73 and verse 4. For there is no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. And what is Esau's true strength? His weaponry. He's skillful. He's a skill hunter. The sword, that was his blessing. It says, for there is no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. You see, both videos made accounts of all the chilling slaughter these people have done. Therefore, pride compasseth them as a chain, and violence covered them as a garment. So they wear the pride of terror, of wickedness like a medallion. Because he is the true T. These are the true T's of the world.
To put the imperial hat back on to say, we're going to govern those countries if you're incapable of governing yourselves.
We're going to govern these countries if you're incapable of governing themselves. That is the pride, man. As it says here, it says, their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than their heart could wish. This man is out of money, wealthy, well-to-do man. But it will never be enough. Their eyes stand out with fatness, because the reason why they go into these countries in the first place is to steal the minerals. It's to steal the resources, destabilize, destroy. As it says in the book of John 10:10, the thief cometh not but to kill, steal, and destroy. That is the purpose of why these people are going to these countries. Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than their heart could wish. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. All you got to do is listen to this man.
Because enough is enough. We're done being invaded.
Because our own national security risk is at stake.
Exactly.
National security interests are at stake.
You can say that about pretty much all of Africa. They're incapable of governing themselves and benefiting their citizens because the governments there are all about looting and pillaging and lining their pockets and going shopping in Paris instead of actually
hold on
making
a
the
second.
country
Hold on.
better.
People on the left are going to watch this. They're going to say, wait a minute, Eric Prince is talking about being a colonialist again.
Absolutely. Yes.
Once again, their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than their heart could wish. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. Because why? Loftily goes into pride, you see. They set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongues walketh through the earth. You see, because this man is a very proud man. Listen to this man.
Enough. Because if you go to these countries and you see how they suffer under absolutely corrupt, made-up governments that are just criminal syndicates.
Funded by who? The West. You know, they put their own puppet leaders in place. It's better someone internally deal with internal matters than to have an external entity deal with the matter internally. Yes, you heard that correctly.
The people of Africa, the people of Latin America, a lot of them deserve better. Now, some countries are really getting it together. Look at what El Salvador did. Bukele, murder capital of Latin America, he said, no more. Now El Salvador is safer than Prince William County.
And he took
just
all
south of Washington. Look, millions of
none of the.
Then it's time for us to just put the imperial hat back on to say,
this is how you can get the unique black.
Would you dive into the...
Anyhow, I think I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave it there. So, giving all praises, glory, and actually, Salakia. Oh, I forgot about Psalms 140, because these are the violent people that, you know, King David talked about, right? This is the book of Psalms 140, and starting at verse 1. It says, "Deliver me, O Yahawah, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man." These people go into countries, they loot, they rob, they steal, they murder, they destabilize for their own benefit. "Deliver me, O Yahawah, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man, which imagine mischief in their heart, and continue they are gathered together for war." See that? Continue they are gathered together for war. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. And giving all praises, glory, infinite honor to our power, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA, QADASH. Shalom.